Hi sweet friends, welcome to Youniquely Vintage You. If you like home decor, DIY, and style on a budget, then we are so glad that you're here. My sister and I welcome you. If you like what you see, we hope you'll give us a follow and subscribe and leave us a comment below. Today's video is all about how to make a back-to-school pencil for your kiddos. So let's get started. Here are some of the supplies that you're going to need: a clear coat, some Rustoleum, spray paint in the color Marigold, and I used a gloss. You're also going to need some paint, some E6000 glue, scissors, some cutters, paintbrush, a knife, and also a PVC pipe that's 2 inches by about 2 foot long, and a cap. You're also going to need a vase that you will put flowers in. So as you can see, I've already started to spray paint my PVC pipe, and here is the vase that you're going to need. You can find these at the Dollar Tree. I believe they're used for the cemetery. So first you're going to do is you're going to measure 6 inches from the tip to the middle, and then you're going to cut that. And I just use a serrated knife and just kind of scored it all the way around, and when I was done I just popped it and it broke right in two. Okay, now that we have our pieces in two, the next thing you're going to want to do is notch it. I'm just taking a pair of pliers, cutting a notch into it because we're going to have to kind of squeeze that together to get it to fit into the PVC pipe. I next took my DecoArt Americana paint in the color Burlap and gave it a quick coat of paint. Make sure that you spray each of your pieces with a poly acrylic, which is very important because your pieces will scratch since we're painting on plastic. So do that to all the pieces: the PVC pipe, the vase, and the cap. To paint the cap, I used 2 different colors. I used Americana DecoArt paint in Bubblegum Pink and Country Red. I'm just going to mix those 2 colors together to get the perfect shade for my eraser, and then I'm giving my cap 2 coats of paint. Once it has dried, again, make sure that you put a sealer on all of your pieces. I used a poly acrylic clear coat just to give it a quick spray. So the next thing you want to do is make the lid, and to do that you're going to, I just cut from a pattern, a plain piece of paper, a pattern in a cone shape, triangle in this shape of about 5.5 inches across and about 4.5 inches down. And when I traced it, the very top, I kind of traced a wave in it so that it would resemble a pencil being sharpened. I'm using some really good cardstock paper, which is pretty thick. So once I get it cut out, I'm going to form it into a cone shape so it'll come together. And then to adhere it, you can use Elmer's stick glue, what I used. I also found that it didn't want to stay as well, so I would also suggest using a little bit of hot glue as well. Once you have that cone shape finished, something that I didn't do but I would suggest is I would fill that cone with either paper or stuffing or something so that it would make it more stiff. Okay, now that we have our cone, we want to glue it to the end of our vase piece. So to do that, I'm just using hot glue, which I'm just going to tell you, it didn't work that great. I would suggest using E6000 glue along with hot glue, and just make sure you run it on the very tip so it will adhere to the end of your vase. Also, I would stuff that with either paper or stuffing just to make the tip of the pencil a little more sturdy. Okay, now it's time to assemble the pencil tip into the PVC pipe. So to do that, where I have notched it out, you're going to squeeze that together tightly and then just shove it inside, which I would also add E6000 glue right inside, which I didn't do, but I would suggest. Put glue inside and then stick it in, and it should hold really well. Just like that. Okay, so now it's time to connect the eraser to the end of the PVC pipe, and I'm doing that by using the E6000 glue. Just run some around the rim and just stuck it onto the PVC pipe, just like that. Okay, now it's time for us to make the metal part of the pencil, and I just found this really cheap tray at the Dollar Tree. I think they were $2 for $1. They cut really easily with scissors, and I measured 2.5 inches by, I believe, 9 inches long. That way it would wrap around with a little bit of extra. So just cut that out with your scissors, and then you can hot glue it, or I believe I put a little E6000 on there and just wrapped it around my PVC pipe close to the eraser so that it would resemble a pencil. To complete our pencil, the last thing I want to do is write out with my silhouette the words pre-K and number 2. You can personalize this any way you want. If you don't have a silhouette, you could always use stickers or even a Sharpie. Either one of those would work perfect. I just wanted to make this special for my nephew who is starting pre-K this year. But it would be perfect for your kiddos' back to school pictures, or even to give as a gift to one of your teachers. If you make it, please leave me a comment and let me know. I hope you enjoy making one of these. To go with our pencil, let's make a really cute apple garland. Let me show you how easy it is to put this together. What you're going to need is scrapbook paper, some apple cutouts that I got from the Dollar Tree, some twine, some faux greenery, some wood beads of any size. I also have some Modge Podge, some paint stain. I used hot glue. You're going to need a pencil, paintbrushes, a hole punch, some raffia, and I think that's it. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is I just took some stain and stained the stem and the leaf of all of my apples. I have some Valspar antiquing glaze that I just went over it, but you could use stain, you could use paint, really whatever you have. I did that to all of my apples. Then you want to pick out the scrapbook paper of your choice. I just use different shades of red and green, and you're going to trace your apple with a pencil. Just lay it on the back side, trace it out, cut it, and then you're going to Mod Podge that to the front of each apple. Okay, once that is on and it has dried, or if you're impatient like me and don't wait till it dries, you can either just sand the edges, and that will take off the excess areas of your scrapbook if it's not on there just perfectly, and also it kind of distresses the edges, which I really like. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just distressing the edges to get the excess of the scrapbook paper off. Then I'm going to take the antique and glaze again, and I'm just going to kind of go around the edges of my apple. I'm also going to make a little definition where the highlight would be. Just give it a little more dimension and depth. So that's what I'm doing right here. Okay. Once that is dry, or you can be like me and just go with it, I'm just going to take a leaf. I actually took a faux leaf. It was a little too big, so I cut it down, and I'm just going to glue it in place. For the stem, I took a stick and just cut that down as well, and I'm going to hot glue that to the apple. You have a super cute apple. The next thing I want to do is to get a little bit of raffia. I'm going to tie that into like a half bow and glue that in place. You could also use scrap ribbon, just whatever you have. I just like the natural look of the raffia. Now I'm going to take some burlap. This is just burlap ribbon I got at Hobby Lobby. I just kind of measured how big I wanted it, cut it out, notched it, and I did them all the same. I would also suggest doing this. I would cut a cardboard back or some really thick cardstock for a backing to put behind the burlap, and then on top, just to give it a more vintage feel, I'm just taking some old paper from a book, and I'm just going to glue that to the front. Once I have that all glued in place, then I'm going to glue down all the edges, and we're going to hear the apple. To assemble our garland, my thoughts were to make it interchangeable. So in doing that, I thought it'd be a great idea to add Velcro to the back of each apple, glue that Velcro to each banner piece. That way when it comes time to change it out, we can just pull it off. My suggestion would be to just get some cheap Velcro from the Dollar Tree and use that. I think that would work just fine. But let me just make sure that you understand to make this the most durable, I would cut cardstock and place that behind your burlap, glue your burlap to that, then your paper pages on top of that for your apple. That way the banner is definitely more sturdy. To assemble the garland, all I did was take some twine, added some beads, and strung all of the banner pieces together. I love how it turned out. I think it would make a cute addition to any back-to-school home, classroom. The best part about it is it's going to be interchangeable. So I'm going to show you how to change those apples into pumpkins for fall, ghost for Halloween or whatever else I can come up with. But be looking for that video in the near future. Guys, most importantly, I just want to thank you guys for being here, but I also want to share this Bible verse. It is impossible to please God without faith. Anyone who wants to come to Him must believe that God exists and that He rewards those who sincerely seek Him. Hebrews 11:6. I pray that if you don't know Jesus, that you'll come to know Him soon. Guys, thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye, y'all.